Chocolate Man is back. I'm back, baby, with another video, another pumped up video. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drink some coffee, chocolate, hot chocolate, dark hot chocolate, baby. Mmm. Ah, I think life just tastes better whenever you are really energetic. I've started to notice things. I've started to stretch, like feel the need to like unwind my body. I've started to sleep less, which is bad. But fortunately, I woke up, I drank some water, I put a video to render, and then I went back to sleep for another 2.5 hours, which was perfect. That was the perfect amount of sleep that I needed to complete the 8 hours of sleep that I need during a day. But in the last 3 days since I started this hyped up thing, it's been difficult to feel like tired. It's been difficult to sleep, basically. I fall asleep very hard and I wake up very early, very pumped and very energetic. I don't feel tired. So yeah, my mind probably thinks that's how it should be. It's also because of the hot, very, very hot weather, and I'm sweating profusely all the time. So that might be it as well. That might be affecting my sleep as well. I talked to a friend last night, and unfortunately, he's coming back from the cruise ship just because he told his manager that he is a bit sad and they were taking the wrong ideas out of that and took him out of context and put him into a room on a watch, like Epstein. And yeah, super bad. And I told him, like, look, see, that's what happens if you say shit like that as a joke. Some people will take you 100% seriously. And I told him, like, if you believe in shitty things, you are going to like experience a lot of shitty things. And that's exactly what he's doing. He believes in zodiac signs and shit like that. And he kind of admitted that in the later part of the of our friendship, he started to believe in things that are more palpable, and he started to focus more on those and put his life in order. And yeah, and I told him, like, look, for me, someone of your intellect, if he believes in things like this, even if he thinks they are funny, if they haven't yet discovered how dangerous those things are for your psyche and how much they cloud your judgment and your vision and your ability to see the world properly as it is, then that's something bad, because you discover those things very, very fast. You do some bad, you get into some bad situations and you see immediately that's why. That because I believe in shit like that. And that's exactly what happened to me as well. Like, I made one of the worst, well, some of the worst decisions of my life when I was believing in crap like that. It was more direct. But then I started telling him this story about when I was believing in the law of attraction and the secret, and how it destroyed my life. Basically, it made me take some bad decisions, very, very bad decisions. And I told him how it kind of destroyed it, how it kind of destroyed my life. And then he was like, yeah, but the secret is kind of true. And I'm like, don't even, I was like trying to calm myself. I was like this. Because I was like, you got the wrong idea. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. It doesn't matter if it's the moment you entertain that idea, that moment you start to see the world in a skewed way. some things can be half truths. They can be half, and they have such a bad part that they make the good part just bad as well. So it's super dangerous, let's say, to believe in things that are not in accordance to reality. Like, sure, we can create our own realities, but the fact is that if those realities are not according to the general consensus and the law of the like masses, well, you don't have to be like the masses. You just have to be able to see the world, to live in the same world that other people live. Because if you don't, people are going to put you away in a box. So that's the point. And you're going to put yourself in a box as well. Nobody's saying you have to agree with whatever the masses are telling you. Now, it's weird because this confidence has led me to say something which I don't really believe, but I said it with such confidence and such conviction that I've started to believe it myself. That's bad. Like this thing about the masses, I've never thought about it, and I don't think it's that true. But the idea about believing in shit and experiencing shit because of it, that's 100% true. So I'm trying to experiment and see what happens. I don't know yet if the thing about masses is true. I'm gonna explore it more after I finish this video and see and come back to it eventually if I don't forget. But it's interesting to realize that because I'm speaking with such conviction, whenever I say something, I might believe it as well because it sounds true. And like, he was trying to convince me about the fact that, look, if you give up on something that you want, you will get it. And I'm like, are you dumb? Sure, that might someday happen, but that's the wrong perception about the world. The right perception is that most of the times you give up because it's too much effort to get what you want. And that's what people don't realize. It's way more difficult to say it took so much effort and I didn't get what I wanted, so I gave up. That's the honest truth. But instead they're like, "Oh, I gave up." And then sometimes it happens because they start doing a bit more and they were super close and they attribute everything instead of the attributing to hard work, the hard work that they did, let's say for 6 months or 3 months, they attributed to that moment where they said, I just gave up. I'm like, yeah, but you did 3 months of work. Like, come on. And it doesn't work. Like, it really, really doesn't work. Like, when you give, what would this channel look like if I gave up? Nothing. It would just fade out of existence. Because how are you giving up? Just mentally? Because if you are giving up also by your actions, then it's super bad because you're not going to do the thing that you wanted to do. Plus, they have a very skewed perspective of life in terms of what they are entitled to. Like, I'm not entitled to anything except the things that I'm doing. I'm not entitled to results. All I'm entitled to is the action, is the process that I'm doing the thing for. Like, and that's the beauty of it. It's so much more fulfilling to actually do things. The fulfillment and the happiness is in the doing, not in the having. It is not the having that gives you, like having this mouse or having this laptop or having this camera. it's not the having that makes me happy and makes me fulfilled. Once I realized that, I got so much more happy. It is not the things that you own that make you happy. It is only the things that you make that make you happy and fulfilled. Because you can look back and say, wow, I actually made those things. But you have to, in order to really do things, to do great things, you have to do a lot and a lot, I mean, a lot of things that are below your standards. And they are like you judge yourself so much that you don't even realize how much you are judging yourself. And of course, if you don't lower that judgment, you will stop before you get the joy and the fulfillment and the happiness from doing things. That's the whole point. Only way you can get better is by lowering your standards and your judgment in order to take so much action that you will become so much better, so much faster. So much, so much, so much, so much. I love it. And yeah, it kind of feels bad to gossip about my friend, but he's never gonna watch this video anyway. So yeah, that's okay. But I'm doing it for a good reason, and I told this things to his face, and that's the whole point. Like, it's been so weird since I started to be more energetic. I also started to see how I get a bit upset, how I get more, like I feel more things because I've waken up to feel a bit more alive. And I find myself even in conversations sometimes emoting to a higher degree. And that's super interesting. Like, I was telling a story to my friend about another friend yesterday, and I was like super intense, more intense than I am right now. And it was a fun experience. I was looking at myself for a moment. I was like baffled by the fact that I was in that state and emoting so much just after what, 12, 13 repetitions of just speaking in this manner and exerting as much energy as I can onto a video. Ungodly amounts of momentum. I cannot even fathom what this would look like after 100 repetitions. I would venture to say that it would be so much more interesting, and I would be like levels above what I was just 6 months ago when I started this. I'm already levels above that, but I will stop really, how do you say this? I would stop repeating myself so much and I would stop questioning everything I say. That would be bad a bit. It would be a bit bad to stop questioning what I'm saying. But unfortunately, right now, I can't really judge what I'm saying. I'm starting to get a bit of control over the things and ideas that I want to put out there, but it doesn't really work because I don't have time. I speak so much faster than I usually do, and with so much more conviction and energy that it's basically impossible to know exactly what I'm going to say, and not only know exactly what I'm going to say, but predict and choose my words carefully and like say only things that I'm supposed to say. But that's the point. Whenever I do this, I find that I after the video, I start eliminating those things and being like, "Oh, I didn't know that was running me. I didn't know I was believing in that because why else would I gravitate towards it so much if it wasn't true? Like, why would I gravitate towards it? It's because I really have it as a tool from somewhere in my past. Like, why do I have that as a tool? Why do I gravitate towards that idea so much more fast? Why is it so easy to reach for? Is it just because it's a simple idea that I've heard a million times? Sure. But why do I grab it? Why still do I grab it? Is it because I instinctively think that it might be true? Or I grab it just by habit? How many times have I grabbed that and not even realized, just because it was already in my hand? And now that I'm speaking and letting my ideas just flow, when I grab it, I realize, oh no, I cannot put as much conviction into this at all. I don't want to put conviction onto this at all, because I know that that is completely wrong. So I'm it and if I say it, it just feels like deflating. I go like, oh no, I'm scared of it. I'm like, no, I don't want to believe that. Like, no, conviction, no. This idea and this conviction cannot sit together in the same sentence. Is like crazy. And it really feels like, sure, I'm outside of my comfort zone, but it feels like I'm changing me, like I'm rewiring my brain completely. And that's quite a different experience that I felt until now. Like, it seems like I'm rewiring my brain a lot faster, and I'm not even doing it by force. Sure, it felt like force the first times, the first few moments I tried this, but now it doesn't feel like force. Like, at the beginning of the idea that I had, like, let's pump our state and really become this energetic and super fast speaker, and I did, and I was like, I was hyperventilating, and I was like, I cannot control any ideas that I'm saying right now. And now I'm getting just a touch, just a smidge of control over my words and over the things that I'm saying, the ideas that I'm putting out there. And I can see that there are a myriad of buttons and controls in reach, but I'm like holding the steering wheel, like, just hold to dear life. And then slowly but surely I'll be one-handed driving and then pressing buttons and getting ideas with ease. But just like that word, like, it was so easy to find it and catch it and put it out there, because I started to have a bit more control and be like, okay, ease. Okay, let's go. Okay, story about car and going fast. Even though it's one of the easiest thing that you can grab, but that's the point. Like, because I'm going at 200 miles an hour. Well, not really. I think there are levels to this, and I can get even more energetic and even more intense. But for now, this feels like my brain is broken. Like, my brain cannot comprehend what's happening that much. And it's an experience. Like, shooting videos this way is really, really, really an experience. You start to get, especially if you just woke up like 20 minutes ago, to jump from to this to be like super energetic and super hyped is like extremely weird. And I didn't know that I would be able in just about 4 or 5 days to be able to speak as like this and become like, it became a bit more normal in just 5 days. And I don't know how long this is and how long I've been speaking. Let's see. Pum, 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 pum. 20 minutes. Jesus Christ, it felt like 5. And last night as well, 9 minutes felt like 3 minutes, but now it's 20 goddamn minutes. Jesus. Just spewing nonsense, yapping, just garbage speech. But it doesn't matter. The point of this is to have a diary, to speak about what I am feeling and how I'm feeling. And that's what I did. And also to train myself to speak better in front of the camera, to be a better communicator. And doing this high energy and high speech pattern, well, speedy speech pattern is say that 3 times faster. So that's the whole point. The whole point is to practice and to put myself out there. It's another beautiful night. I have finished all of the things that I wanted to do today. Well, almost all of the things, but I want to go do some sports. And while I'm going to do some sports, I want to listen to some things, at least to have the freedom to actually listen to things. I met with a friend, we talked. Whoa, yeah, baby. We are with the most screeching chair on YouTube, and also it's broken. So that's the best thing ever. But if you want to be rich, don't change things if they are still able to do the work that you need to do with them. I might have convinced my friend to stop venting so much to every person that he meets and all of his friends by talking to another friend who's a psychologist, and he explained to me how, and I gave him the arguments that he usually gives, and then he was like, no, let me explain to you why. And then I explained to him why, to my friend, and he said, oh, I got it now. Okay, so the point is that whenever we are venting, we are creating this narrative that we are a victim. It's fine to vent. It gets us a little bit of relief in the short term, but we have to take the necessary steps to improve that situation with the friend, with the work, with whatever the situation is. If we continue to just talk about our frustrations, we keep on ruminating onto the problem and never fixing it. So that's the point that I was always trying to get across to him, but it needed a bit of therapy context from a psychologist to put it in his words and to get a bit of his credibility in order to convince my friend of the thing that I've been trying to convince him for the past year. It's crazy. And I hope to God that he does get rid of this venting habit that he has, because I cannot stand it. For the last, I think, 6 years, he has been telling me the same story, the same traumatic event all and over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm like, it's been 6 years. It's not like you've been through a war. It's not like you've been traumatized by someone who did something super wrong to you. You just saw some bad shit. Some bad situation, you put yourself in a bad situation and you saw some bad shit. And it's been 6 years. Please stop the venting, stop ruminating on the situation. I don't have the emotional availability to listen for the 100th time to you getting a lot of these bad emotions back into your life when your life has been improving since then tremendously. Like, when are we going to stop, like, really thinking about that situation? When are we not gonna bring it from the past into the future and really put it? It's super frustrating. I really feel frustrated about that situation. Whenever I think about that, I don't like to tell people what to do, especially when it comes to those kinds of things. I try to mold my behavior and my topics that I talk about to not hit those buttons and those bad issues. But with him, it's been difficult and difficult and difficult, because it's like a motor inside of him that ruminates over and over and over again, everything leads to that same subject. And I'm like, oh, how can I have a friendship with you? It's draining me every time. We spend 2 hours talking about fun things, and then inevitably it ends in that subject. And I'm like, oh, let's go, come on. Like, Move on. I'm tired of this. And it's not a good place to be. I don't want to feel like I'm saying to someone, look, this bad thing that happened to you, you should get over it. But how long are we sitting in that cesspool of bad emotions? How long? For how long? What's the answer? What's the answer to go through the, I don't know, 6 steps of grief or whatever thing it's called, like, until we get to acceptance? When are we going to go to acceptance and be like, okay, we finished this whole thing? But he doesn't. He's stuck into one single step, and he gets more and more and more frustrated and more shitty, and he feels bad, and he whatever, and he just goes there. And I'm like, stop doing this to yourself, because it's annoying. And I don't like to see a friend of mine who's constantly hurting himself. Like, you are doing it to yourself. Please stop digging your own hole. It's bad. And yeah, it's been very frustrating, and it's one of the subjects that is, well, this channel is all about talking about emotions. So I am venting to you, but finally, like, that's the point here. I can talk about this because finally he understood, and hopefully it will stick to him, like, I don't know, like bee to a honey, or whatever the saying is. I want to finish this video. I want to render everything, well, edit everything, transfer the files, and then be done with the work for today, because I want to go out and do some sports. And really, it's been very interesting to talk with this much energy and conviction. And even though I would have not really liked to talk about the subject that I've just ended, but unfortunately, whenever you don't have the option, I don't really have the option to think about the subject that I'm gonna talk about. I can only speak, I can only say whatever brings into my consciousness, whatever my consciousness bubbles up, and that's exactly what happened. I had to vent a bit about the friend of mine who's venting too much. So the point is that I've been talking in this manner and demanding a lot more energy from myself, which has been changing my whole demeanor and whole existence so far. And I think it's going to change me even more if I continue to do this sort of to put this sort of an energy and train myself to be in this high energy state. It will spill into, it already has, but it will spill into my personal life even more. And I really am excited to see what 100 days of this might look like. 100 days means for me 600 repetitions of just doing this, just being like this for each repetitions, it's between 2-3 minutes to 20 minutes or 30 minutes. It doesn't really matter how much. It's 600 repetitions that I do and expand my energy levels to be in this way, to be able to emote and express myself to this degree of intensity. And that's just about it. Thank you for watching, and see you tomorrow.